timing. Nothing has changed. This is what we've been dealing with the entire shoot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was great. Thanks for the interview. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Ciao, Dad.
I'll let this pass. Okay. How do we begin? I have a question for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Come on.
Should we get it?
Well, no, don't start like that.
No. I was thinking, it's been quite a journey so far. My first question is, you decided to do a beard. Why? Because there was when we were doing the makeup tests and stuff like that very early on, I heard you wanted to keep the beard. What was it that you wanted the beard for the character?
That without the beard, I feel like I feel younger. And I always thought that for this type of character, I need to build something that is more strong about the impact, about the look.
Yeah, no, I've never shaved so much in my entire life as I have on this project.
Yes.
And I had to learn how to shave. Like, I never use a razor. So the first, I was like shaving because I was like, what if I cut myself? So yeah, for me, it was the complete opposite. It was actually not having any kind of stubble or anything like that.
And I have such sensitive skin, you know. It's like,
Yeah. No, I just
cannot
look
do a
older.
campaign for somebody. I cannot do it, I think. Okay, it's my turn. Okay.
Okay, yours are...
At the beginning, I was very scared about all that stuff. Not about you, but about the project, you know.
Right.
My first project in English, but a very technical stuff, finance. What was your first impression about me?
About you?
Yeah.
Your eyes right away. You had a twinkle in your eyes, which was really nice. And there was a strength about you, and you have this wonderful strength, but at the same time, you have an accessibility and a vulnerability, which is really, it's a beautiful combination of both of us.
Wow.
And a maturity and a wisdom. And that I think, that was really working with you is, you know, you had to deal with English and a massive amount of dialogue and exposition, which is always very challenging. And very impressed by that, how you've handled it, how you conduct yourself. And it was easy. If I just focused and we were looking at each other, we immediately had a great understanding. So we were saying one thing, but we were feeling something else. And I think that's, for me, after the first day, I was like, I'm in great shape right now. Because when you have a scene partner, you're acting with someone, it's less about what you're saying, it's what you're feeling.
Absolutely, yes.
And even for me with the crew, I really can't understand anything, and I can't pick up the language that well, but you can look at somebody, you can understand what's going on just by reading the eyes. And to me, that was really exciting. And playing with you, I think that's why the scenes were so much fun to do. Once we finally got there, once we got through the challenge of just learning dialogue day in and day out, I mean, once you had your preparation done, we were protected, I think, visually and all of that, the way the show has been shot. Things were done for us, but then just being present and in the moment and discovering the scenes, that was really enjoyable.
Yeah, very good. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm very happy
Really
about
good.
that because I remember perfectly our first hug.
Yeah.
You know, perfectly because I was so scared about that.
People are very warm, and you're very warm.
Yeah, because
you
I like
hug
that.
everybody, and it's really nice.
Because
I like that.
The first thing I thought was, oh God, he's like me,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And I really love that.
It's always tricky sometimes around actors too, right?
Yes.
There's always this. I think we're innately insecure to begin with, and we either you own it or you don't. And the people that are the most enjoyable own that vulnerability and that insecurity. But when people put up the facade, there's this inability to connect. I find that's the challenge with being an actor.
Yeah.
And not getting caught into that trap.
In that moment, I really understood that. You gave me the possibility to feel free to be myself since the beginning. So I was very relaxed from the first time. And I was like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I felt this
can
all the
do
way
it.
through. I think with Nick set an atmosphere where you felt right away, we're like, this is special. I can't quite articulate why, but there's an energy, there's a vibe that's happening where you feel like, oh, this is going to be good.
Good.
You know, it's going to be challenging. There's complete chaos
yes, we know.
around us that, you know, will be a challenge. But through the, sound, the sound was constantly background noise, dealing with the distractions. And you always handle that very well. Your professionalism amazing the experience.
Very good. Thank you so much. You know what? I wanna ask you a thing. What did your parents thought the first time you said I would like to be an actor? Because mine, they were so scared about that. They were like, oh my God, it's like.
Yeah. I can only imagine as a parent hearing your son or daughter say, "Don't do that. Please don't go down that road. It's too hard, and not everybody makes it." But to answer your question, I think it was nothing I ever wanted to do. To be honest with you, I wanted to be an Olympic ski racer, like a Tamba, in Mars, Denmark. So that was never something I wanted to do. I enjoyed performing. I would juggle and I would do stuff, but I kind of fell into it. And then one thing led to another, and then I realized that, this is what I'm doing. I went to New York, and I remember my father saying, look, you've got one shot at this. If you make it, great. If not, then you got to come back home. And then my mother was always disappointed I didn't do more theater. Mm-hmm. And then when I started racing cars, she much preferred that than the acting. She was never into that, which was so bizarre.
Yeah, it's strange now.
Yeah. And it's funny, it just is, certain things are meant to be and they unfold, and that's part of your journey and that's your destiny, and you go with it.
Yes.
And then you realize, okay, what have I gotten into? Then you have to learn the technique and the craft.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you realize how challenging and how difficult it is. I've had good years, I've had bad years. I've been around doing it for over 30 years now. So I've had a little bit of everything, which makes me appreciate it and not take it too seriously, but being professional. Let's go, let's get it done. Let's do the best we can and then be done with it and go do something else. The business in itself and the process is enjoyable. The end result, not necessarily for me. I don't enjoy watching myself. Too critical. But I enjoy doing it.
Okay. And I think this is the only way to do this job relaxed. Because if not, if you are always judging your work, probably you're going crazy,
Then you're too in your head all the time.
Yes.
And then you become too self-conscious. How did you begin as an actor? How did it start? Do you remember the moment when you were like, this is what I want to do?
I was working in front of my gym. I was 18 years old. And the man stopped me saying like, I need a guy to do just a little part in a series. It was 2006.
Were you playing a boxer?
Yeah. Yes. And that was my first time. Just 3 days of work in a series called Distretto di Polizia a long time ago. And after that, the first time I was on the set, I felt like, oh my God, this is great.
Destiny.
Yes, maybe yes. Right now, I really understood that the real problem of this job is making choices.
Right.
I just want to do things that makes me happy.
Right.
Just this. So, if I'm happy, I did the right choice, probably. And right now, I'm very happy. So, this job makes me free every time, every day. And this is probably the reason that I decided from the beginning to do that, because it makes me free.
We're lucky to be working actors.
Yes, absolutely.
Without question. Have you been always happy through this? What's the biggest challenge for you on this?
The series at the beginning, I was just scared about the language, about English, obviously, and I was very scared about the British accent. And at one point, Adrian, my dialogue coach, told me, "No, you have to work on this British accent because Massimo, my character, has been living in London since 10 years, so maybe."
But then you have Guido, who's been living there for 20
No,
years.
Guido, it's not.
And he still has a thick accent.
Guido.
So that theory was thrown out the window after a week. I remember that.
Yes. But it was just like, I'm a Virgo. So I have a lot of problem about that. Because
I was impressed with your ability to command the language as well as you have, and how it's improved over time too. And I know Adrian has wow, that's good.
I think
I don't envy you looping all this.
Yeah, the first episode I was like, I'm Massimo Ruggero.
I'm like, what? What did you just say? Yeah, okay.
Yes. And then Guido. My God, Guido Brera.
Guido's amazing. Now, I never got a chance to read the book.
Because
it hasn't been translated yet.
Yeah.
How did you got a chance to read the book. You spent a lot of time with him, as we both did, and I learned so much about life, more importantly about life, and certainly finance and all of that. I look at things differently. He opened me up in many ways where I don't look at the world the same way. And I think that's what this story is about, that there are many levels of awareness or consciousness when it comes to money, and as we say, those who are in the know and those who aren't, and there's a responsibility for that. And I think with him, there's he's a very powerful man, very smart man, but an incredibly humble man. How did the book, this is two different things, how did the book inform you?
At the beginning, the book was like the first approach to that, because I didn't know everything about finance. So at the beginning, it was like, okay, just try to understand some dynamic about all that stuff. And obviously, there is the famous butterfly effect, you know. So you make choices, and on the other side of the world, there are repercussions.
Right.
It's like that. So I think this is a good point for our series. It's like there are not good or bad. No.
That's what's interesting about this story. It's not that. It's not that clear.
Yeah. I always thought that, first of all, this is a story about human beings, about their choices. So, for example, at the beginning, the approach that I had related to Massimo was like, yeah, we have to talk about finance and about all the dynamics, but we are going, for example, for me, the most interesting stuff about that is the different movement inside the story between me and you, me and Nina, me and Sofia. This is something real that is not connected just to the finance world.
Well, that's the interesting thing about the title, The Devils, because it's really not what you expect it to be.
Yeah.
It's a sort of a misdirect in many ways, because this is also post, 2009, past the crash, where the mentality has had to change and adjust. But where they were projecting this sort of image of real empathy and understanding their power and their importance and what they were doing. More so probably before the crash. It was probably a different mentality. Maybe it was more like the Devils, but I walked away feeling, oh, okay, there's humanity here. It was not, these are bad people.
Yes.
Just taking your money and I'm going to kill you. Yeah. It's been an incredibly difficult journey, but I've enjoyed the openness and the collaborative nature of everybody. It wasn't like anybody was in there saying, no, you can't do that.
Yes.
Everybody's been very open. The cast has been remarkable. I mean, you've had an opportunity to interact with everybody, but I think it's really interesting, the individuals and the personalities, which isn't typical. And there's always a sort of an undefinable magic that happens or doesn't happen in this, and I think the cast has been really extraordinary.
Yes.
And representative of where we are in the world, the diversity of people and different cultures and different backgrounds that make it really interesting and fun to watch.
Yeah, there are a lot of different type of approach to the job.
Oh, we haven't really talked about Jan, Jan, our director, who is really, it's been interesting because we've broken it up into two different directing styles.
They are completely different.
Completely different approach. And when we were doing one and then crossing over in the afternoon, at first it was like, wait, how do we adjust it?
Yes.
Completely different styles.
Yes. But I like that. I like that so much.
Yes.
Because it's like, I don't know if for you it's the same, but it seems like Nick is the most technical part of that, so he knows perfectly what he wants. And for me, it was like, no, everything is so quick, huh? And Jan, since the beginning, it was like, okay, let's try to figure out what we have to do. So follow the emotion and try that way. So it's completely different at the beginning. But I really like that because it's like doing two different series, and it's...
Yeah, with him, he would give you a note and you're like, oh, okay. All right, fine. I'll go there. Let's try it. We'll see where it takes us. And
there was a lot of trust on this set.
A lot of trust, a lot of respect. We were all in it together, Yeah. It's like we're in a boat and it's taking water and we got to all get pitched in and keep it going. But that's the nature of the creative process anyway. And sometimes when it's too smooth sailing, there's no tension.
Yes.
And then you see the film and it's flat. Not all the time, but particularly I'm hoping this.
Yes.
But it was great the first time we saw sort of some of the assembly that you're like, wow, this is fantastic. This looks, stylistically, it's really interesting.
Can't wait to see the serious side. My God.
Yeah, it will be really fascinating.
Yes. So, okay. At the end, I'm using this opportunity to say thank you. Really.
Well, thank you. It's been a
Because
real pleasure.
it was great for me, and it was great for me because that was really my first time on that, and I was so lucky to meet you on my journey. Really.
Me too. It was a real pleasure. You are a total inspiration, and a wonderful actor, and a great human being on top of it.
Thank you.
I love you. Okay.
Good.